Okay, today we are going to talk about section 2-3, which is standard form of a linear equation. Now, the general equation that we use for standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are just numbers. So in our example here, we have 4x plus 5y equals 10. All right. Now, it wants us to sketch the graph here. Now, the steps that we want to do to sketch the graph for standard form are very simple. Step 1, we are going to find the x-intercept. Now, how we find the x-intercept, remember, on our graph, we have the x and y axis. The x-intercept is wherever the graph crosses the x-axis. So when we look at that, every single x value along this x-axis is going to have a y value of 0. So what we're going to do to find the x-intercept is we are going to set y equal to 0 in our equation. So if we do that for our equation here, we're going to have 4x plus 5 times our 0 equals 10. We just replaced in this equation. 5 times 0 becomes 0, so we have 4x equals 10. Divide by 4, and we get x is 2.5. So that tells us the x value for where this graph crosses the x-axis. And remember, we can write that as a point. It is at the point of 2.5 comma 0, because we already said, hey, my y value is 0. So we can go over to our grid, and we can go over to 2.5, which is in the middle between 2 and 3, and put our x-intercept. And similarly, we can now find our y-intercept. And remember, the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, which is whenever x is equal to 0. So we're going to let x equal 0 now in our equation, which means we now have 4 times 0, because that's our x value, plus 5y equals 10. 4 times 0 cancels out. 5y equals 10. Divide by 5 to get that y is equal to 2. So that tells us what our y-intercept is, which is at the point 0, 2, because again, x is equal to 0. So then we can plot that point on our grid up at 2. We have both of our points. We can make our line. And that's how we make our graph from the standard form. Okay? All right. Looking at question 3 here, these equations we want to have a little bit of a conversation about. So if I look at A, we have the equation 3y equals negative 18. Notice how I only have a y in this equation, so let's go ahead and solve it for y. Let's divide by 3. We get y is negative 6. This is an equation that we can graph. If we graph this, or if we think about this graph, what this means is that every single y value along the line, every single y value along the line has a value of negative 6. So if I go down 6, I'm going to have a horizontal line here, because every single point along this line is going to have a y value of negative 6. So when we have y equals a number, right? Y equals a number as our equation, that is going to be a horizontal line. And any horizontal line that we have here is going to have a slope that is equal to 0, right? If I ever ask you a question of like, hey, what's the slope of our horizontal line? It's because the change in our x's divided by, or our change in our y's is 0 divided by our change in our x's, it's always going to give us 0. Okay? So if I do the same thing with b now, I have 4x equals 12. So if I solve for x, I get x is 3. Now similarly, when I had y equals a number, that gave me a horizontal line. When I have x equals a number, that's going to give us a vertical line. Okay, so x equals a number is going to be a vertical line at that number. And for this, our slope is actually what's going to be undefined. Okay, because our change in our y's and divided by our change in our x's, we can't divide by 0. That's why it ends up being undefined. Okay, let's flip on over. That was page 40. This is on page 42. Let's take a look at question 6. Same thing as the first question that we did here. We're using our x-intercept, using our y-intercept in order to make our graph. So if we look at 6, x plus 4y equals 8. Let's find the x-intercept by setting y equal to 0. So that gives us x plus 4 times 0 equals 8. 4 times 0 is 0. Leaves us with x equals 8. Let's do the same thing with the y-intercept. Set x equal to 0. We have 0 plus 4y equals 8. The 0 goes away. 4y equals 8. Divide by 4. We get y is equal to 2. So we can go ahead and make our graph. So we have an x-intercept at 8. We have a y-intercept at 2. So we can go ahead and make our line. Let's do the same thing with number 7. I'm going to do number 7 down here, actually. So we've got 3x minus 4y equals 24. Let's find the x-intercept by getting y equal to 0. So we have 3x minus 4 times 0 equals 24. 4 times 0 cancels. 3x equals 24. Divide by 3 to get x is equal to 8. If I do the same thing with my y-intercept, but now I'm setting x equal to 0. I have 3 times 0 minus 4y equals 24. 3 times 0 cancels. Now the only thing about this one is please make sure that this negative sign stays with the 4y. Because otherwise you'll have a different answer for your y-intercept. All right, so we have our two intercepts. We have our x-intercept at 8, our y-intercept at -6. So if we make our graph, we go to the right 8, put our point. We go down 6, put our point, and we can connect them to make our graph. All right. Last question that we're going to do, we're going to look at question 10. All we're going to do on this question is we're just going to create the equation for this scenario. So it says Deandra has $12 to spend on a mixture of green and red grapes. What equation can she use to graph a line showing the different amounts of each grape she can buy for $12? So we do not know what x or what y is going to be, so let's establish that first. Now the two different things we're comparing are green grapes and red grapes. So let's let x be green. Let's let y be red. And then the information that it tells us in the picture here, it says Each green grapes are $3 a pound, red grapes are $2 a pound, right? And we said green is going to be X, red is going to be Y. So we're going to combine those together, right? The $3 goes with X, the $2 goes with Y. So our equation is going to have 3X plus 2Y, right? $3 per pound of grapes, green grapes, $2 per pound of red grapes, and we can then set it equal to the amount we are able to spend, which is our $12. Okay, and that's all the question wanted us to do, is just write the equation. If it then asked, hey, what is one scenario that we can do, like to buy green and red, then we could go through and solve and find, okay? So that's standard form, right? Using our x-intercept and our y-intercept to then graph and make our line. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. Please use that information to help you with your homework on Savvas. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Please reach out to me via email or talk to me in class.